Hi there! Animal experimentation is testing products on live animals, supposedly to see what the results might be on humans. The experiments in question are always potentially harmful, dangerous, or deadly. If they were not, such experiments would be conducted on humans and would obviously be more accurate. Although most animals used in experiments are mice and rats, other commonly used animals include birds, cats, chickens, chimpanzees, cows, dogs, fish, goats, guinea pigs, hamsters, horses, monkeys, pigs, rabbits, and sheep. Types of products tested on animals include powerful cleaning products, questionable food products, and every product containing unfamiliar ingredients or isolated concentrations of the ingredients or chemicals themselves before they are used by humans. After being tested upon, the animals are often killed and dissected to better see the product's effects. Animals are used for studying diseases and injuries by causing them to have diseases and injuries. Oftentimes, these animals are not cured of those given diseases or injuries, but are either killed or allowed to suffer with them. In fact, each year millions of animals suffer and die in laboratories. Then there is vivisection, the practice of performing experimental operations on live animals for scientific research. For more information, see the American Anti-Vivisection Society. www.aavs.org. Animals are also used by militaries to test weapons. Also, over 30 makeup brands test their products on animals, including Avon, Chanel, CoverGirl, Mary Kay, and Revlon. Some brands lie and say they don't, but every brand also sold in China does, since animal testing is mandatory by law for foreign cosmetics. So that defeats the idea that all animal testing is needed for preserving human lives, as such testing often involves unnecessary luxury products. Besides, people and animals differ significantly from each other, including different metabolisms and having different reactions to many substances. Examples: in humans, thalidomide causes birth defects, but not in typical experimental animals. The painkiller paracetamol is fine for people but poison for cats. Arsenic, which is highly poisonous to people, does not harm sheep. In fact, medicines that were successful in animal experiments fail in over 90% of later trials on people because they either do not work or have too many side effects. There are also animal experiments used to study mental effects. For instance, rats are subjected to electric shocks to make them feel desperate in order to study depression. Such experiments are especially idiotic since animals cannot verbally express how they are feeling. Some argue that such testing is necessary to save human lives, and it's a better moral option to test on animals than random humans, a kind of lesser of two evils argument. Even if it is necessary, doubtful, there's a third option: only experiment on people who have been convicted of horrible crimes. We don't use this option because under the 8th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, inflicting cruel and unusual punishments is prohibited. Another point that shows it is animal cruelty is that no humans want to volunteer to be subjected to the experiments so that they can help humanity, not even for pay. Bleeding bloody hypocrisy! Some argue that animals are too unlike humans and therefore should not have our rights. But by that reasoning, animals should never be tested upon since they are too unlike us, which would invalidate the testing. Others argue that animals are very much like us to validate animal testing. But by that reasoning, they should have similar rights and therefore should never be tested upon without their consent. Speaking of cruel and unusual, it was discovered that an experiment headed by Dr. Anthony Fauci involved beagles kept in cages in a desert in Tunisia, Africa. The dogs were drugged with their heads stuck in separate compartments. Infected sandflies were starved, then thrown into the head compartments where they fed off the beagles' faces. Taxpayers footed the bill, around $450,000 for this, as taxpayers foot the bill for all animal experiments. In fact, $158 billion in taxpayer money has gone to animal experiments in the last 10 years. See www.PETA.org, that's PETA.org, on their article taxpayer money wasted annually animal testing. Besides, the verdict on animal experiments should be the same whether you are religious or non-religious. The non-religious conclude that humans and animals have the same origin, humans are animals too, and humans and animals are relatives who come from the same bloodline. Therefore, animal experiments should be abolished. The religious, which includes me, conclude that God created every living thing, so animals are likewise his creation. Some religious people interpret religious texts to mean that animals are far inferior and have no God-given rights. But that is illogical, since if a God created humans, he also created animals. And if he created animals, they are his sons and daughters too. Also, the so-called golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, should apply to animals too, as they are certainly others. This is bioethics. Medical progress is important, but animal experiments are the wrong way. Instead, there are alternatives to animal experiments. These non-animal methods are often cheaper, quicker, and more effective. For example, human tissue can be donated from surgeries, such as biopsies, cosmetic surgery, transplants, etc. And not only human tissue, but whole bodies can be used after death, post-mortem analysis. Also, computer programs with advanced systems based on large chemical databases can predict a chemical's toxicity. Computers can also replicate human systems with simulated models. These methods provide results which are significant for humanity. Besides, such science and technology has continued to expand. Another recommended website, www.whitecoatwaste.org. Take care.